I switched from a MacBook to a PC. I'm hanging out outside Powell's Books. I'm about to go inside. I've been staring at a computer screen all freaking weekend, and I needed to get out, do something else. So I figured, let's come to Powell's Book. I've been trying to get everything done for my children's book, and I need a little bit more inspiration. So why not check out some books? Go check out Powell's. It's been a while since I've been here. The last few times I've come to Powell's was actually for work. The company I work. The company I work for actually does most of the electrical for Powell, so most of the time I come here it's for work-related stuff. So it's nice to go inside and check out some stuff and actually kind of peruse it as opposed to being here for work. So let's go inside and check it out. Hey, look, it's Katie. Katie's trying to find a coloring book for her next drink and draw. Finding anything? Dude, that's cool. There's so many books, especially so many children's books. It's kind of really cool to see everything that's out here and get some ideas to implement into the book I'm working on. So Katie's just out here checking out the rest of it. I do think I want to go find a book for me to read that's a little bit more cultural. Alright, I just totally call that a success. I found a book to read, and I got some inspiration for my children's book that I'm working on. I switched from a MacBook to a PC. I know that's some kind of clickbaity type stuff, but it's true. I did it. And it wasn't for clickbait, but I do want to give my reasons as to why I switched and what I like about the switch and some of that. Now, to be fair, this has been about 2 months since I bought my new PC. I got the Dell XPS 15, and I absolutely love it. It hasn't been perfect since getting it. There was some issues, and the biggest issue was the screen, which was actually part of the reason I got it. It is a beautiful screen. It just was way too color saturated when I first got it, and it was a pain to get it set up properly. It's calibrated now. I'm not sure it's 100% calibrated, but I'm very happy with the calibration at the moment. But it wasn't an easy transition, and if I did this review during that first 2 weeks, I would have been furious. But come on, Dell, let's do a little bit better. You make some really good screens and stuff. Make this easier to calibrate. Please, that'd just be so nice of you. The real reason I switched was this old MacBook Pro is a 2012, and it was just kind of time to upgrade. When I started looking at upgrading, I was looking at Apple had just come out with the new MacBook Pro with the touch bar, and just like everybody else, wasn't excited about it. And it caused me to start looking at some other options, and I came across the Dell XPS 15, and I really like it, and I'll get into that. But the reason I didn't go with the MacBook Pro was for a couple reasons. One, just like everybody else, I was not excited about the USB-C, Thunderbolt port, whatever they're calling it, which I get. It's the future. And I'm cool with being future-minded. This new laptop has a USB-C port, so I'm kind of future set. But it has other stuff. But the reason I wasn't happy about it, originally I wasn't a fan of having all the adapters and stuff because I didn't want to carry them around. And I have seen some stuff of people who have bought it and they've lost their adapters. And look, that's just kind of annoying. You already have to keep track of other stuff that you're plugging in. You don't want to have to keep track of adapters as well. But the bigger thing is, that's all that extra money to buy adapters for this port, which is the future. It'd be one thing to just completely get rid of the USB when there was a lot of options for accessories that use the USB-C port, and that just isn't the case yet. I am excited. I do have a USB-C. Again, haven't used it yet, but as stuff comes out and I have accessories that I can use it, I'm covered here. And I can still use all the other accessories I currently have. And the other big thing was no SD card. Really, Apple? Come on. The MacBook Pro line is really for artists, or at least it used to be. And you took away an SD card, which, I mean, that hurts filmmakers and photographers. That is one thing I do not want to have a dongle for. And everything else I kind of can get, okay, I'm plugging in a hard drive. I can add a little extra something to, to convert it to what I needed. But the SD card shouldn't be. I should be able to use my laptop without anything else, but just have my camera and have my laptop and be able to do everything I need to do. And the MacBook Pro didn't allow that. I had to make sure I had accessories, and I don't want to have that. The other big thing was the touch bar. Look, this doesn't have the touch bar. I've never used the touch bar, but there was nothing about the touch bar when I saw it that I was like, oh, that looks awesome. I can't wait to use it. I was kind of like, really? That's what you're giving me? The touch bar. I'm like, what am I going to use that for? I don't understand. Maybe some applications and some stuff will use it. There could be some cool things. Maybe. That's all I can ever think of is maybe how I would use it. The Dell XPS that I bought has a touchscreen. Now, I don't use it a lot. Actually, I haven't even really used it at all. But there's direct things that I can think about using it for. And as an illustrator and a photographer, I can draw right on the screen. That touch bar doesn't do that for me. I'm not really sure what the touch bar can do. But this allows me to draw directly on the screen. And that has real value to me. I wanted the touchscreen. Like I said, I haven't used it. But to me, there's value in a touchscreen. And the touch bar doesn't have that for me. So that's why I ended up with this Dell XPS 15. And like I said, I really like it. I'm really excited about it. A couple things to know about making a switch, either from PC to Mac or Mac to PC, is there's going to be differences. There's going to be little things here and there, and you're just going to get used to it, and you're going to be slower initially. It's just because you're going to be getting used to a new operating system. There was a little bit less of that this time because I've always used a PC at work. So the operating system and a lot of those kind of things I was used to. So that wasn't as big of an issue. But there was some minor things, and 99% of the time I'm on the computer. I'm either in the Adobe Creative Suite or I'm on the internet. And that makes no difference whether I'm on a Mac or I'm on a PC because I'm interfacing with the Adobe software and not with really either of the others. Now there's a little bit of difference obviously with using the control button for shortcuts on the PC and the command button on that, and I haven't completely gotten used to it because I still hit what is now the Alt button instead of the control button or the command button. But look, that takes time to get used to. It hasn't been that big of an issue. And your best bet when you're making the switch is to dive in and just go into whichever one you're going into, and try not to use the old computer as a crutch. And you'll learn it. You'll get faster. You'll get used to it. One of the things I love about my new Dell, and it actually is a direct correlation with the MacBook Pro that I could have, the new MacBook Pro, has to do with dealing with my SD cards. So I like to dump my SD cards every single day. And it helps me keep everything kind of organized for later for going back and finding stuff. And it's so much faster to kind of go through that process on the Dell. Now, even on this MacBook Pro, it was a little bit longer, and adding the fact that I would need a dongle on the new MacBook Pro, that just adds a whole nother step that I don't have to deal with. But on this, I have to go in, I put in the SD card, I do the transferring. And then once the transferring is done, I have to highlight everything, either right click or double click, depending on if I'm using trackpad or mouse. Click trash or drag it to the trash to delete it. From there, I then have to go into my trash and empty the trash. And as somebody who likes to delete stuff a lot, I didn't like having to delete my trash can every single time to actually clear the SD card so that when I put it back into the camera, it didn't read that the pictures and the videos were still there, so that I'd have still the full 64 gigabytes on the SD card. And then, so after I finally empty the trash can, then I eject it and I can put it back in the camera and we're good to go. On the Dell XPS, it's so simple. I insert it in. There's no dongle because it's got the SD card slot. And I drag and do the transfer. And when I'm done with the transfer, I highlight everything and I can click a delete button. And that's it. No dragging, whatever, just a delete button. And when I'm done with the delete button, I hit the eject and I'm done. Fewer steps, a lot simpler, and I love that process. So it's little things like that that you kind of get used to once you kind of go back and forth. Now there's things obviously about the Mac that I kind of miss. But in general, I am really happy with my Dell XPS. So my advice to anybody out there that's looking at videos for this, for either thinking about leaving Mac or going to yell at me for leaving Mac, whatever. Like, for anybody out there who's watching gear-related videos on YouTube, I have two kind of suggestions. Understand what they're creating, how they're using the gear, and also how long they've had it, because the longer you have it, the more you understand the piece of gear and really the pros and cons of it. So keep those two things in mind. And that pretty much sums up why I switched from the Mac to the PC, and I am absolutely loving this. Let's also not forget that it is a little bit smaller, a little bit lighter. It's definitely smaller and lighter than this computer, than my old MacBook, but I still believe spec-wise it's smaller and lighter than the new MacBook Pro. Not by a ton, but I still believe it is. So I love this new computer, and I really am excited to keep using it. And with that, I don't really have anything else for you, so I'll see you next week.